Thank you. In case you were wondering where your $9 goes, that's it, baby. My name is Zach Raffio, as the thing says. I can't really tell because you're all sitting down. Is anyone here particularly tall? What the fuck is that about?
You'll see. I'm not.
Cool, okay. I am already killing, and we're just on the name. I'm a pretty tall person, and there's this weird sort of phenomenon out there where when I meet someone for the first time, they feel like they have to tell me that I'm tall, like as if I don't already know that. Like I'll go shake their hand, they'll be like, hey man, you're really tall, as if I'm gonna be like, what are you, ah! Or I'll give a smug answer like, you should have seen me before the genie. I also used to be Asian and bald. Anytime someone brings up my height, they say 3 things in a very specific order. I like to call them the 3 tall comments. First they say, hey man, you're really tall. And I'm like, yeah, I try. Or whatever you're supposed to say to that. And then they ask, you play basketball? I don't like any of this. Don't care for this. So they ask, do you play basketball? As if that's like the only thing tall people can do. It's never like, you make really good Baja chicken. It's always, you play basketball? And I say, yeah, once in a while with some friends, because I'm the king of sports. As you can probably tell from this photo, my high school production of Hello, Dolly. And then they ask, are you any good? And I usually say, not at all, because I find that sort of ends the conversation, and if I'm lucky, I never have to see them again in my life. Anytime someone's brought up my height, that's been the case, except for one time. I used to work at a movie theater, jealous, and we had a new kid come in. His name was Manuel, but he liked to go by Icy. You can see how that's a nickname for Manuel. And Icy had 2 big diamond stud earrings and the Nike swoosh shaved into his head, so we had that in common. And I remember when the manager first brought him up to me, he was like, Zach, this is Manuel. And he goes, no, Icy. And I was like, I don't know what that is, but room temperature? A little sweaty because you were making me nervous. And we start talking and he says, hey man, you're really tall. And I'm like, yeah, milk. Where the fuck were you guys now? All my dairy material. So I start talking and he says, hey man, you play basketball? And I'm like, yeah, once in a while with some friends. And then he asks, are you any good? And I say, not at all. And he laughs a little, and then he stops laughing. And he gets very, very serious. He looks at me up and down and says, were you the one I saw outside my house? Shooting at my dog with a BB gun? You see, I've never been asked that one after the others. That's the thing. I'm sure you've had the same scenario, 10 white tall men.
Please ask him.
No, it's my time. I need this so badly. High school was a weird time for me. High school is where I found out that I was gay, which was strange because I'm not gay. And it wasn't gay back then either. But when a bunch of mean 15-year-olds are telling you how gay you are all day, you're gonna start to think maybe they see something I don't. Like if it were really nice outside, and you came inside and 9 people came in and were like, it's raining outside. You'd be like, I guess it started raining. And then if they turned and were like, you look like Shaggy from Scooby-Doo, but on Broadway. You'd be like, well, they were right about that rain business, so who am I to say? Taking a brief intermission, and now we're back. I love horror movies, I'm a big fan, but I was thinking recently if I were in a horror movie, like a cliched horror movie with 5 like sexy teens who go to a cabin for the weekend, which stereotype would I be? I'd be like the dumb one, the jock, and I came to the conclusion that I wouldn't be invited on the trip. They'd be like, hey, should we invite Zach? I don't really want him there. He's gonna see the pictures on Facebook. Just tell them there aren't enough beds. And then they're getting stabbed. They're like, hey, at least Zach's not here. That's what I looked like in 2015. So I went to a very small, very liberal arts college called SUNY Purchase. Go white people. And And I studied movies, which is the thing my parents let me do, but joke's on them. No, they're still alive, and it's really annoying. They're so supportive. So I studied movies, and it was during that time that I saw the scariest film I've ever seen. It's a movie called The Vampire, but it's not about that type of vampire. It's about this type of vampire. Look at it. Look at it and touch yourself. No. Actually, do what you want. I don't know the here. So this is a Brazilian bat known as the vampire bat. And now what the vampire bat does is it sneaks into barns in the middle of the night and it eats horses. I don't think you heard me quite right. I said that the bat eats horses. Two things. One, where's all that horse go? You have a sort of like a recreation-sized bat, and then your standard fun-time horse. Where's that horse go? Just mull that over. You're gonna wake up at 2 in the morning and be like, where does the horse go? And my second question is, at no point was the horse like, hey, can you help to the filmmakers? These two guys are, you can imagine that it takes a long time for a bat to eat a horse. We've all seen porn. And so at no point did the horse turn to the filmmakers and be like, hey, I'm dying slowly. And they're like, yeah, we all are. And he's like, no, you can stop this. And the filmmakers are like, nah, in 75 years, a bunch of college freshmen are gonna have to watch this for some reason. And we did. I'm gonna leave you guys with this. I tried to find a picture of my grandma, and I searched her name, and this woman came up, who looks a little like my grandma. All 4 of my grandparents have passed away. Thank you guys so much. I hope you have a very good night.